Are we self aware when communicating, especially in this digital world? Let's flow right into it. But first, here we go now. Here we go, here we go now. Let's get up in this flow with me, your host, Joe. Thank you so much for being here today. Last week we talked about celebrating small wins. And I have a small win to celebrate today. I now have 78 downloads, and I am 22 downloads away from the first 100 downloads. So that's what I meant by taking a small bite of the elephant at a time to reach my 5 million downloads. Okay. And also, we just became an international podcast, even though I believe we have already been on YouTube, but on audio. We are now international, baby. Ay, ay, ay. So now, how many of you heard the term communication rules the nation? Right? I heard that growing up with my auntie. She always said, communication rules the nation. And as I became an adult, I started to understand what she meant. And as I built relationships in the workplace, outside of the workplace, relationships with my children, with my husband, with extended family, with friends, with colleagues, and with people who intimidated me a little bit, right? Because we all have times when we come into communication with people who have way more degrees than us, who have accomplished so many things. But at the end of the day, we are all the same people. We were all created the same way. So that's how I started looking at it when I started coming into contact with higher stature people. And it was a way to start learning from them also. But so communication does rule the nation. I mean, we have to communicate with everything. So you might be wondering right now, let's get into it, Joe. Stop the fluff. How can I become self aware in my communication? Right? Are you thinking that? Let me know in the comments. And the first step, I want you to write this down: the power of active listening. Are you actively listening when you're in conversation with someone? Are you actively listening when someone is coming to you, talking to you? It could be something about work, it could be just casual talking. But are you actively listening? Self reflect on that. So, some examples: are you maintaining eye contact? Are you practicing empathy? Are you avoiding distractions? Right? Because when we actively listen and we're portraying with our body language that we're actively listening, you begin to build trust with that person. And therefore, you build a stronger relationship. And I want to talk a little bit about avoiding distractions in conversation while you are actively listening. Have you ever went to a family function, dinner with a friend, or even just a casual conversation at home with your partner or your children, and that person had their phone in their hand while you were speaking? How did that make you feel? Put it in the comments. Put it in the comments. I would love to know. And if you aren't on YouTube and you can't put it in the comments, please send me an email. I'd love to hear from you guys at flowwithjoepod@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you guys. So it doesn't make you feel good. It doesn't make you feel heard. And so my motto to life is treat everybody how you want to be treated. The golden rule that we all learned in kindergarten. It's even in the Bible, do unto others as you would have done unto you. So it's a it's a principle to live by. And it's a principle that I live by. So always be self-aware of that. Okay? Because self-awareness ultimately transforms our communication. So start practicing eye contact. You know, a person one time told me they didn't like eye contact because it felt like the person was staring into their soul. Well, think about it from another perspective. That person just really wants to engage with you and let you know that they are actively listening to you. Right? So, that's the first point. Practice active listening. Practice eye contact. Practice empathy. And practice avoiding those distractions, and always have in the back of your mind, be self-aware. How would that make me feel? Right? How would that make me feel having distractions while I'm in conversation? Okay? So, yes, you will ultimately start flourishing in relationships both at home, personally, and professionally. Okay? All right. Hey, that brings me to my second point. What everybody is saying. Nonverbal communication. That's why communication rules the nation. We are talking without even opening our mouths. We are talking without even opening our mouths, right? In the form of just overall body language, facial expressions, gestures. It can reveal someone's underlying emotions and intentions. So, this is where you have to enhance your self awareness to those non-verbal communications, right? And one way that I did it was because I'm a highly sensitive person, and sometimes I can take on, especially in a large crowd, I can take on other people's emotions, and I had to become aware that it was not me. That's not what I was feeling, right? And so I bought this book, What Everybody is Saying by Joe Navarro. He's an ex FBI agent, and he kind of helps you speed read people, right, in communication. So you could be having a discussion with someone at work. You can ask them, hey, what do you think about this? You know, and they may say, oh, that looks great. But their facial expression or their feet might be turned the opposite direction. They may just be saying that because they're ready to get the heck away from you, out of the room. Um, they can do something with their neck, and you know that they're like self-pacifying. They're uncomfortable with giving you their real answer. And so you have to pay attention to those, and then you can use it to enhance your communication skills. To say, hey, you know, be honest with me. Like, what do you really think about it? You know, just and that's a quick example, right? And then that will open the door for them to be more comfortable with telling you what their real and true honest opinion is of whatever you just presented to them. Right? And that is also something that can be enhanced on in the workplace and personally. So professional and personally. Become more self-aware of body language and use it to enhance your skills of communicating. Self-awareness, communication. I'm your number one self-awareness buddy, guys. All right. Now let's go to the third talking point, and that's going to be emotional intelligence. And we've been discussing emotional intelligence pretty much every podcast episode in different ways. So we're building our emotional intelligence together, and I believe in this digital world it is essential for our mental health and well-being. and for our success in life, whatever success means to you, right? Building relationships in life. So, emotional intelligence and communication, recognizing and managing our own emotions and how it influences effective communication. So become self aware of what you're feeling, because we always say what we feel, but sometimes we need to hold on to what we feel, think practically and logically, and give that answer, and keep what we feel inside, right? And maybe write that down in a journal or something about how we feel, or do a voice recording journal about how we feel. But let's become emotional intelligent in communication, both professionally and personally, and think practically and logically with our answers, right? To make better decision making skills when we're communicating. And also that helps build that healthy relationship, whether professionally or personally. So just life in general. So practice self-reflection, understand triggers. This is huge in communications. Now, this is going to be more so within yourself, and understanding your triggers professionally. Recognize them, understand them. If you go to feeling some type of way, recognize it and begin to self reflect and understand, hey, what is going on here? Why did this trigger this emotion? Dive into it a little bit, learn about yourself so you can understand those triggers and learn how to emotionally control them, work around them, or communicate to someone, hey, this triggers me when we speak about this, or this triggers me when you do this. And set that boundary right there. Could we try to go about it a different way? Okay? Yes. Yes. Okay, Joe. And expressing emotions constructively to enhance self awareness and strengthen and build stronger connections professionally and personally. And public studies has shown that developing self-awareness can improve communication, emotional understanding, and conflict resolution skills, all of which are crucial for building and maintaining a healthy, fulfilling relationship. And at the end of the day, that's pretty successful. When you become 80 years old, later on down the years, I know I always use the age 80, but you might be 60, you might be 90. At the end of the day, the thing that is most important is the relationships you've built, for me, I believe. And, that's just been a lot of people's answers when other content creators have asked people who are seasoned those questions, right? Is the relationships that they build. So start working on this today. So when you become that age, God willing, we won't have those regrets. And also, effective communication and self awareness on communication effectiveness has overall organizational success in the workplace. So, this stuff has been proven, ladies and gentlemen. So, I ask that you take these tips and you start to put them into practice, and email me. Let me know how it's going. And I may, if you're listening over on Spotify, I may put up a Q&A or a poll for you as well. That's pretty cool. Spotify. I just learned about that. So I'm going to start interacting with you all on Spotify as well. So we have come to the end of the show. Thank you all so very much for tuning in to the Flow with Joe. As you know, I am most grateful for your precious gift, and that is your time. and even more so for interacting with me as well. Until we meet again next Monday, right here at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Good morning, good evening, or good night. Toodles, poodles.